everyone, this is Patricia, and this is going to be a very special video for Clarissa Month. Now, when you think of Clarissa, what do you think of? You think of her room, you think of her advice, you think of her evil brother, you think of Sam, you think of her outfits, a whole bunch of things. But there's just one thing that always creeps into her mind, that always gives her a sickening feel. What is it? Tofu. Tofu is not as scary as it seems. Sure, in the show, it's portrayed as being all disgusting and bland and tasteless and mushy. I'm going to show you 3 recipes on how tofu can actually taste delicious. The first thing we're going to start off with is a spinach artichoke dip. And right here is silken tofu. Silken tofu can be used for dips, it can be used for desserts, and a whole bunch of other things. I had it strained for about an hour where all the liquid is in the bottom so that when we prepare our dip, then none of the ingredients will be diluted. So I'm going to start things off with about a half a cup of our silken tofu. The rest of it will be used for later for our third recipe. So we're just going to pack that in. We're going to go over to our blender. Next thing we're going to do is we're going to take 1 can of our quartered artichokes. These have already been drained. And I have 2 tablespoons of liquid reserved, which we'll have for later. Right here I have about 5 ounces of frozen spinach that I had already thawed and squeezing out the liquid. So I'm going to put that in alongside with the other ingredients. Next up is going to be 1 tablespoon of basil. Make sure that it's evenly distributed. Next, we're going to add 1 teaspoon of salt. Again, making sure that everything is evenly distributed. Next up, we're going to add a few cracks of pepper. Next up, we're going to add 2 tablespoons of artichoke juice. And now we're ready to puree. Right. Now let's add in the rest of our canned artichokes. Okay, now that we have our mixture ready, let's input a little bit of it into our ceramic cup. Alright, once you have all of your ceramic cups filled with the dip, we're going to take it over to the oven and set our timer for 20 minutes. And while that's cooking, we're going to be doing tofu mixed with veggies over a bed of rice. Okay, so first off, we're going to put in a little bit of olive oil, just enough so we can coat the pan. That way none of our veggies stick. Gonna swirl the oil around the pan so that it'll be evenly distributed. Okay, the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to add in my onions. These right here are about, I would say maybe about a half an onion. And we're gonna let that sweat for a few minutes. Okay, when your onions are a bit translucent and they brown a little bit, the next thing we're gonna do is we're gonna add in 1 clove of garlic. And we're gonna add in about half of a carrot. And let this saute for a couple of minutes. All right, the next set of veggies I'm gonna add in is about half a zucchini diced and about 3 or 4 baby shiitake mushrooms depending on the size and sliced. And we're gonna add that into our pan and let it cook for about a couple more minutes. All right, now that our veggies are a little bit more brown, now we can add in our next set of ingredients. So right over here, I have about 8 ounces of firm tofu. This is a little bit more different than the silken tofu that we use for the spinach and artichoke dip. It's a lot more firmer, as the name suggests, and we're just gonna mix that in there. And we're gonna get a handful of broccoli florets. All right, now time for our seasoning. We're gonna add in about a 1/4 cup of soy sauce and make sure that it's nice and evenly distributed between the tofu and the veggies. The tofu is gonna soak this up really nice so that it'll be able to get lots of flavor. Next up, we're gonna add in about 1 teaspoon of grated ginger. You can either use fresh ginger or dried ginger, and make sure that you can distribute that very evenly because ginger is a very, very strong root. Making sure that it can be able to penetrate toward the vegetables and the tofu. And we're gonna add in about a 1.5 teaspoons of honey to give it some sweetness, to help balance out the saltiness of the soy sauce and the strong assertiveness of the ginger. Now we're going to raise the heat up until we reach about a medium-high heat, and we're going to let this we're going to let the liquid absorb into the veggies and tofu for about, I would say, 5 minutes. Okay, when your veggies are starting to look just green enough, that way it doesn't become too soggy and too brown, and when the tofu has absorbed just enough of the soy sauce mixture, then the food is ready to eat. You just turn off the heat. You could serve it over a bowl of rice. And your main course is ready. All right, the oven means that our spinach artichoke dip is ready. Let me just grab my... Okay, when you see that there is a little bit of brown at the top, then that means it is completely cooked. And you can just set it on the side for it to cool down a bit until you prefer eating it warm or cool. Last but certainly not least, we're going to be doing dessert. We're going to be making a tofu berry sundae. So what we're going to do is we're going to be adding the remainder of our silken tofu, which should be about a cup. next thing we're gonna do is we're gonna add about a cup of blueberries. You can use raspberries, you can use blackberries, you can use strawberries, but I have blueberries. Okay, next up we're gonna be adding about 4 tablespoons of orange juice. And a little bit for good luck, because why not? And last but certainly not least, we're going to add about 4 teaspoons of honey. Okay, we're going to puree until smooth. Okay, next thing we're going to do is we're going to just pour our sundae over the top. And this is either ready to eat, or you can put it in the refrigerator for about a few hours for it to get nice and cold. And that is it. Those are 3 recipes showcasing about how good tofu can be. Thank you so much for watching. Please leave down in the comments below on your favorite tofu recipes. Share them if you want. Please let's be able to bring in a whole bunch of tofu recipes for the community. That way we can all be able to enjoy what tofu has to offer. So I hope to see you around soon. Thanks for watching.